Daily Tech News with Alan Smithson.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Tech News. My name is Alan Smithson. I'm your host today, and it is Thursday, May 16th. We've got some weird stuff. People are selling AI clones of dead relatives. We have a new condominium that's going to be built upside down, which is really strange. We have some new developments in very, very small molecules. And we've got the top 100 albums of all time. Has nothing to do with tech, but I just thought it was super cool and wanted to share with you. So here we go. Let's get into it for today. Let's start with the strange story of the day. People are selling AI clones of dead relatives for $150 in China. Now, being able to communicate with your dead relatives sounds interesting. I mean, I don't want to dismiss this because it does sound actually pretty cool. In China, the AI cloning of dead relatives become a thriving cottage industry, driving down prices and spurring technological advances in years that these kinds of services have been offered years. So this is not a new thing. Obviously, this is something that's being covered. It says here in an interview with NPR, MIT Tech Review reporter discussed this fascinating, if not macabre, industry he covered for a piece at his employer. Really interesting. The fact that you can have a deceased loved one for $150 and you can talk to them as a chatbot. I think this would be super cool. Here, let's take a quick look at the video here.
选择感恩，选择正向，这会让我们的生命因有所失去而更加美好。这是我在天上最想要看到的景象。来说是多么的艰难，每一天每一刻，我都希望我能在你们的身边，给你们温暖和力量。
I'll leave it at that. I'll put all the links in the chat, but you can look into buying a relative's likeness so that you can still have conversations in the future. Very interesting stuff. Over to Pew Research Center. This is interesting. 25% of US teachers say AI tools do more harm than good in K-12 education. Interesting. We'll scroll down and check this out here. It says, as some teachers start to use artificial intelligence and AI in their work, a majority are uncertain about or see downsides in the general use of AI in K-12 education. Okay, so let's take a look here what they're saying. Many teachers are uncertain about the use of AI in K-12 education. Not sure, 35%. About an equal mix of benefit and harm, 32%. More harm than benefit, 25%. Wow, and only 6% said that more benefit than harm. These are the teachers teaching the next generations of students. I think maybe this should be tied to how old the individual teacher is, because I think, as you'll find, that teachers in K-12, the average age is getting really, really up there. Here, high school teachers are more likely than other teachers to view AI in K-12 negatively. So in elementary school, 19 believe that there will be more harm than benefit, but in high school, 35%. That's interesting. And then if you look at teens' views, teens have a totally different view. 69% would say it's acceptable to use it and research new topics. 39% would say it's acceptable to solve math problems, and 20% say it's acceptable to write essays. So there's a disconnect between the teachers and the students. And among teens who know of ChatGPT, 19% say they have used it for schoolwork. So I think there's going to be an interesting clash here of students and teachers and what's right for them. Okay, this is interesting and terrifying at the same time. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I am going to skip to about here where...
This is wild. I'm going to keep playing with this, and I'm just going to keep recording. I know that's probably... I mean, feel free to fast forward.
Okay, I'm going to go here.
I mean, this is just...
Yeah, check this out. So he pulls out a Raspberry Pi, points it at ChatGPT 4.0, and check it out.
Tell me what you see.
The image shows a person standing indoors and holding a small electronic device, which appears to be a single board computer, a Raspberry Pi.
Oh my God, what the...
This taking a picture of themselves in
Wow.
a mirror with a smartphone.
That is just.
Various items are visible in the
I
background,
genuinely
including a chair, a couch, posters
am
on the wall,
dumbfounded at
and a
this.
ring light.
This is
The
not.
room resembles a personal workspace or living area.
So basically, it knew what a Raspberry Pi was just from a photograph. I think we're just kind of getting into this crazy realm of AI knowing where we are, what's going on, listening to us, learning from the world around us. It's no longer just about text inputs and the information from the internet. It is literally the human corpus of experience with regards to what we see, what we hear, what we do. This is changing everything. Okay. Robotics are really cool. And this is like a lifelike robot for serving. Check it out. I'll turn it up. And she's got some little funky moves going on. How cool is that? I mean, aside from the obvious weird glitching, very cool stuff and very interesting. I don't know how I'd feel about being served by a robot like that, but very interesting stuff. Okay, over to Jerry Rig Everything. If you don't follow this guy, he's pretty awesome. Jerry Rig Everything basically tears down everything. And right now he's tearing down the new iPad Pro and Pencil and all the things. So here, let's check it out.
The tandem OLED display. Let's take a peek at it through my microscope.
This is cool.
OLED screens are awesome. The individually lit pixels, as you can see here through the microscope, deliver super crisp and vibrant images. What Apple has done here, for the first time ever, is stack two OLED screens on top of each other. So not only are there 264 pixels per inch, but there are also, apparently, 264 identical pixels below those pixels acting as a backlight.
All right.
A razor knife is
So
only
it takes apart
$15,
the Apple Pencil.
but I guess it just depends on which side of the tablet you'll be drawing on. As you saw, the tip is removable.
And then, check
Apple's
this
Magic
out.
Keyboard is made from an anodized aluminum.
Scratches everything up.
There's
This
one
is the
12
magic part
also
here.
temporary.
Where is it?
The inside of the
yeah.
M4 yet, so how would I within 60 seconds? Integrity going on. You can see the glass screen literally ripple away from the frame, eliminating any water resistance, but all that hardware itself is an arrow or a Boeing.
Oh yeah, here, watch. This is the part right
for
here.
horizontal bends.
Horizontal bend.
I'm very impressed.
Now the vertical
bends,
bend.
however, still not as wrecked as Drake, but holy macaroni, there's no recovering from this catastrophic failure right at the charging port.
It pulls it all apart. Check it out. You
Removed,
can get a see. I'll put the link in here so you can watch the whole
we can get
breakdown.
our
But
first look at
watching, it's something satisfying about a $2,000 piece of equipment being ripped apart by somebody else. I love it. Okay, Apple has rounded up the top best 100 albums of all time. I know it has nothing to do with tech, but I'm a DJ and I just had to share this with you guys. Let's see what's in the top 100 here. Okay, top 100 albums, bottom of the top 100. Body Talk. Oh, Hotel California. Definitely the top 100, but I don't know why it's so far down. Rage Against the Machine. Amazing album. I don't know. No, Listen Without Prejudice. George Michael. Okay. Let's see where we go from here. Oh, they stop at that? Where does the rest of it go? Anyway, you can look and follow the rabbit hole down of the top 100 albums of all time. I'll leave it in the description of the YouTube video as usual. Make sure you hit subscribe because that's how this thing gets bigger. Okay, AI can now generate, speaking of music, generate entire songs on demand. So what does this mean for music as we now know it? There's a whole essay on here. It talks about, we saw the launch of GPT for music called Suno, which uses generative AI to produce realistic songs on demand after short text prompts. And I've been using Suno and it is really, really mind-blowingly good. And there's another one called Udio that just came out as well. But, what does this actually mean for everyday, language? What does it mean for intellectual property rights? What does it mean for humans where we're supposed to be the creative ones? And the music is really good. Like if you listen to some of these, like a weird techno track. Okay, what about this one? Where was the other one here? Every style. It's really incredible. So if you haven't tried Udio or Suno, I recommend you give them a whirl. But I think we really need to discuss, what does this mean for artists? What does this mean for musicians? What does this mean for music producers? I don't know yet. It's I guess maybe everybody's now a creator, and I think maybe that's a good thing, but I guess we need to discuss it further. Okay, over to Google. Google announced Trillium, their 6th generation of Google Cloud Tensor Processing Units, or TPUs. And this thing is, where is it? 4.7x increase in compute power performance per Trillium chip, which is incredible. We're not advancing in percentages anymore. We're advancing in like 4 to 10x of everything. 2x ICI and bandwidth memory capacity and bandwidth, and it will power the next generation of AI models. I will leave that in here, but I'll read you this. Gemini 1.5 Pro is Google's largest and most capable AI model, and it was trained using tens of thousands of tensor processing unit accelerators. Our team is excited about the announcement of the 6th generation of TPUs, and we're looking forward to increased performance and efficiency of training and inference at scale of our Gemini models. And that is the chief scientist of Google DeepMind, Jeff Dean. Very, very cool. It's just getting faster and faster. And by 2030, it's estimated that we'll have about 1 million times more power than GPT-4 in inference models, in the training models. Google also takes aim at Android malware with the new AI-powered live threat detection service. So they've got this new thing where they're actually going out and actively looking for suspicious behavior. And they'll be able to protect, Google Play Protect will be able to send the app to Google for additional review. So this is really interesting because, once you download an app, you don't know whether it's safe or not, and it could be doing some malicious things. So the fact that Google's being kind of really advanced with this, I think, is a good thing, and we all need to make sure that our devices are safe. Okay, this is really interesting. A new subatomic particle may be the universe's mythical glue ball. And what's a glue ball, you ask? A glue ball, here we go. We'll take a step back at the most basic level because I read this earlier today. Everything around us, from the chair you're sitting on to the device you're reading this on, is ultimately composed of atoms. These atoms are made up of even smaller particles like protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons and neutrons are part of a family called hadrons. Most hadrons include protons and neutrons, but are made up of even more fundamental particles called quarks, which are held together by particles called gluons. Gluons are the glue that binds quarks together. They carry strong nuclear force and one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature. And the interesting thing about these is that the further they pull apart, the actual stronger they get, which is really interesting. And so there's your glue ball, a meson and baryon. You can Google those things and find out what they really are. Ask ChatGPT, actually. That'd be kind of cool. Enter X2370. This new particle is being carefully analyzed by debris from particle collisions at the Bessy experiment. And this is a image of that experiment, positron collider in China. And you'll see that they've got a bunch of information on that, and you can learn more about quarks and all the things that bring our world together and keep the glue that binds us, literally the glue that binds us. Okay, over to space. The space race is on, and this is interesting. They're anticipating the first space train by 2030. 5.5 years from now, they're going to have a rail system for the moon floated by NASA. So I don't know if they're going to float the rail system or it was just an idea floated by somebody at NASA, but the moon might be getting a facelift. The fact that we need to put a train on the moon is really interesting because we're going to be able to travel around. We're going to be able to mine things. Maybe we'll set up heavy manufacturing in the moon so that we don't have to pollute the Earth. There's all sorts of really interesting things, but this thing has been dubbed the float, flexible levitation on a track. I love scientists for the acronyms they come up with. But anyway, the float will provide reliable, autonomous, and efficient payload transport on the moon. Very cool stuff. And we'll, I guess, learn more as NASA builds it. This, however, this is the Analemma Tower. This is a tower. I don't even know how to begin talking about this because here's what they're proposing. So you have all of these structures on Earth pointing upwards. So, the Burj Khalifa, you have the CN Tower, you've got the Eiffel Tower, you've got all these big towers. But what they're suggesting is that this thing hangs upside down from space. Yes, you heard me correctly. I'm not making this up. They want to hang a building from space from an asteroid. And you can't even make this stuff up. Here, let me scroll down a bit, and there's an image of it somewhere here. Where's the images go? The images are all gone. But here, let's play the video instead, because this is literally unbelievable. And if they can pull this off, I mean, I don't even know. This is just a science experiment, but look at this. So feels like a science experiment. It feels like this is not real, but I guess we'll find out here. Okay, so how do you get into it is the question. You can't just drive up and, it's up in the air, and they're going to attach it to an asteroid placed in Earth's orbit, tie it to it, and suspend it from the asteroid? Okay, well, let's fast forward here and see what this thing will look like. Because that's how they're going to build it. I guess they're going to build it from the top and the bottom simultaneously, but this is the idea here. You'll be able to see this building from, how do you even get to it? I don't understand the concept here. It seems like such a far out thing, but hanging an entire building from a asteroid? I mean, come on, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff, but that takes the cake for today. Anyway, okay, this is a really cool commercial. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't want to ruin the surprise for you, but this is a really cool commercial from XFinity talking about VR and its benefits, but really cool.
Whoa, what's that, Grandpa?
This is what I would wear in the plane. And you pop that on over there, huh? That's right. That's perfect.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I can tell you it is really, really a great video. It's heartwarming, it's cool, and it uses VR to bring that gentleman into the fighter's pilot seat again with his granddaughter, which is super cool. And okay, I hit the wrong button here. Sorry about that. Okay, last thing I'm going to show today, or second last thing, is I wrote this brand guide to choosing Roblox versus Fortnite versus a private verse. So if you're going to build your own 3D virtual metaverse world and you want to build on Fortnite or Roblox or build your own private verse, you kind of have to understand the benefits of each. So there's a whole article on why you would choose each. So for example, if you choose your private verse, you can base it on your own web traffic. You can, it could cost very little to build or very expensive to build. Fortnite is kind of expensive, but they have 500 million registered users, and Roblox has 70 million daily active users. So there's, the age ranges that you're looking for, as well as, the ability to have retail and e-commerce built in. There's all sorts of things you can do. You can connect to a token or currency of your own choice if you're having your own private verse, versus Fortnite uses V-Bucks and Roblox uses Robux. There's a whole thing. There's a whole article on here on why you would do that. It goes into depth, but I'll leave the link in the chat so you can dig into it at your own leisure. Okay, AI will transform the global economy. Let's make sure it benefits humanity. This is really interesting. AI will affect almost 40% of jobs around the world, replacing some and complementing others. We need a careful balance of policies. So this is Kristalina Georgieva from the IMF, and she's basically saying, this is really going to be a big impact on jobs. And it says here, in emerging markets and low-income countries, AI exposure is expected to be 40% and 26% respectively. And these findings suggest emerging markets and developing economies face fewer immediate disruptions for AI. At the same time, many of these countries don't have the infrastructure or skilled workforces to harness the benefits of AI, raising the risk over time that technology could worsen inequality among nations. And this is why I am dedicated to building a new learning system called Unlimited Awesome, which I'll be bringing forward in public more very soon. So stay tuned for that. But AI's impact in jobs. Most jobs are exposed to AI in advanced economies, and it just shows the exposure level being, in the world around 50, kind of 18%. Advanced economies, it's higher, and then emerging markets, it's lower. But we got to be very, very careful that this does not increase the divide that we already find ourselves in with technology around the world, because we have about 6 billion people on the internet connected to the internet today, and that leaves 2 billion people that don't have access. And so we need to really focus on making sure this world is equitable. And I'll leave you with that. This has been Daily Tech News for May 16th. It's every day happening so fast. Go forth, make some cool stuff, and remember, we're all in this spinning rock together. Even though we may be hanging condominiums from space. Have a great day. Peace, everybody.